early afternoon. We are live. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special, and we're glad to have you here. You know, people have been asking me for months, what's the deal with the elephant and the mouse? We've even got a picture behind us. See that? And today, I'm finally going to tell you what's the deal with the elephant and the mouse. Anyway, if you're new to us, it's a Tuesday, which means we're broadcasting everywhere. We're broadcasting on Facebook, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, Wisdom Harbor, and probably a bunch of other things that I'm not even aware of. But we're here at the wharf in Orange Beach, Alabama. It's 157 degrees with a, what do you call that? A heat index of 212. It's boiling temperature. We were watching people walk by outside, and they just like boil and fall on the floor. But it is pretty hot here. But at least it's good weather, you know. It's not raining. My shirt is from Sand Dollar Lifestyle. And I mentioned we're here at the wharf, didn't I? We've got a bunch of people in the studio audience today. We're glad you guys are here. Have y'all had your pictures taken down at the escalator statues? We've got 4 escalator statues around here, and especially if you're visiting from out of town, you need to have your picture taken with the escalator statues. This is fascinating. We have the marlin statues down there, and those are nice. But our escalator statues, not everybody has an escalator statue. Don Keller, howdy. Dina Kilpatrick, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing. Dana, Dave, in Phoenix. Yeah, you got the Charting Your Course webinar later today. I forgot about that. Margaret Davis Haupt, greetings from the cooler Northeast Mississippi. Really? It's gotten cooler? Maybe it's going to head down this way. Becky Ottenberry, here. Glad you're here. We've got a bunch of good things to talk about today. Christy Woods, my sister. Christy, did you see what Dave Larder says? He's enjoying the AI conversation that I had with Steve on the Professional Noticer. Christy, have you watched your husband on that yet? He was awesome. Ron Reams, hello. Greetings from Mobile. Ron is a former anchorman. Paula Cahill from Circleville, Ohio. Vicki LeDuc from Lundstrom, Michigan. Man, we got you guys just from all over today. We're glad you're here. And this, Eva Jean Hodge, this is a project that I have worked on for 34 years. How about that? And it's finally coming to life. So let me tell you what the scoop is. You've seen the picture. We've had an elephant out occasionally. We've had a mouse out, and Polly and I just gotten married 34 years ago. And that was our first Thanksgiving, and we were driving to DeKalb, Mississippi, which is her hometown. The land time forgot. There are literally dinosaurs walking around in that town to this day. And on the way up, I started writing a poem. And I started it, once there were animals living far from the zoo, an elephant who was pink and a mouse who was blue. And I wrote this poem all the way to DeKalb, and it was a story. And so I wrote that before I wrote The Traveler's Gift. And we just kind of kept it. And then after the Traveler's Gift, we went to the publisher and said, hey, we have this. And maybe it was after Heartmender. I had written like about 3 books and went to the publisher and said, hey, we have this poem. And they said, no. And so then we waited, and I had a children's book, The Kid Who Changed the World. And we said, hey, I got another children's book. And they said, no. And they turned it down 3 or 4 times. And so Polly kept saying, for 34 years, Polly said, that poem is awesome. It's just awesome. And so last year, the crew here, we all got together and we said, the heck with the publisher. We're going to have Wisdom Harbor publish this book, and we'll create our own publisher. And our publisher won't turn it down. And so we created Pink Ernie and Blue Fred and The Big Prank. And this book was illustrated by Brianna Spence, and she did an incredible job. So we've had the books for a little bit because we just wanted, we're the publisher, and so we weren't on any publisher's schedule, and we wanted to wait until we had Pink Ernies and Blue Freds that people could get with their books if they wanted them. And these are like really soft, and they also make a good pillow. Very good pillow. So anyway, let me read a little bit of it for you. Because here's the thing. The book is not going to be released until November. Isn't that right, Matt?
That sounds right.
I think it's like November 3rd or something like that. But for you guys, for our VIPs that are just on the VIP thing on andyandrews.com, which is free. You just sign, put your email. But the VIPs, you can have them now. So, and we're going to send an email out this week about getting them and getting the stuffed animals. And so this is Pink Ernie and Blue Fred, and let me read a little bit of it to you. There once were 2 animals, neither lived at the zoo, an elephant who was pink and a mouse who was blue. The pink elephant was Ernie. The blue mouse was named Fred. They ate the same food. They used the same bed. Their house was unusual, made of sticks, straw, and rocks. They built it to protect them from the mean purple fox. The fox was a grouch, and he snacked on blue mice. He'd cut off their tails. He was not very nice. That mean purple fox, his name was Ray. If you listened real closely, you could hear him say, I eat colored critters. Yes, that's what I said. And I'm especially hungry for a blue mouse named Fred. One night, Ernie Elephant lay down on his bunk with Fred the Blue Mouse curled up on his trunk. Both were laughing and chuckling, for earlier that day they'd prepared a surprise for the purple fox Ray. They dug a big hole and filled it with ice, then painted a sign that said, Free Blue Mice. So anyway, this is Pink Ernie and Big Fred, Pink Ernie and Blue Fred, and The Big Prank. And so the purple fox Ray is a bully. And so Pink Ernie and Blue Fred learn to deal with this bully, and they play a prank on him, and he gets trapped into an ice pit. And like there's the purple fox, Ray, in the ice. Ray was so cold as he shivered, he knew soon his purple would turn into a bright shade of blue. Blue like the mice Ray so loved to munch. As a matter of fact, he'd had 2 for lunch. And so these guys tell him what he has to do to get out, which is eat vegetables for the rest of his life. Here's some of there's Ray in his box. And so they end up being friends, and Ray ends up loving his vegetables. And so the story has the anti-bullying theme. It also has the eat your vegetables theme, and it has the idea that no matter what color we are, we can all be friends. And so I wish you could feel the book. I love feeling this book. But you can get the book with an elephant and a mouse, and you can get as many books as you want because we're making them available to you guys before they're available to anybody else. And I think you're going to really like it. Pink Ernie and Blue Fred and the Big Prank. On the back it says, best friends Pink Ernie and Blue Fred find a hilarious way to turn the tables on a local bully, the mean purple fox named Ray. This classic tale, delivered entirely in rhyme, will have the children you love laughing from the start, and it might even prompt them to eat their vegetables. So, Matt, what do they need to do if they're not signed up to the VIP list?
Yeah, you should, there's a link on the screen right now, but if you just go to andyandrews.com/pink, you can sign up there, and that'll just put you into the system. And then on Saturday, when the books and stuffed animals and stuff are all, available, we'll send you a link, and everybody on Saturday will be the first people in the world to buy it.
There you go. There you go. And I think you're going to love reading this to your kids and your grandkids. But I also think you're going to be reading it a lot to them because they're going to like this and you're going to read it over and over. Today, we got our special topic is things I believe. I've been jotting down some things that some of them are kind of odd, some of them are pretty normal. The things that you guys know a lot of things I believe, but I'm listing some things that I believe that you may not know that I believe. Okay, so I just listed some. Some come with a comment, some come with no comment. Here's the first thing I believe. I have a deeply ingrained distrust of anybody who wants to be president bad enough to go through what somebody has to go through to become president. I just, it's like, really? What's wrong with you that you want to do that you want to go through that? All right, here's something else I believe. I believe that when you look at a person who is completely unaware of you, there's a really good chance that they'll have the impulse to turn and look at you too. I don't know why that is. Have you ever done that? Looking at somebody, and it's like they feel an itch on their neck, and they turn and look at you. I don't know. It's just something I believe. I believe that anything and everything we do on our mobile phones, even when you aren't talking on it and it's just like near you, or even when you're being secretive by using invented usernames and crazy passwords, I believe that everything you're doing is being logged, electronically documented, somewhere, I think privacy is a thing of the past. I think it's over. Have you ever had a conversation in your house about something, and then for the next 4 or 5 days you're getting ads for it? I mean, there's no way these phones aren't listening to us. Polly talked to me not too long ago, said something about, you know what I wish I had? And I was like, what? She said, a chili dog. That chili dog with that kind of sauce that I used to have when I was a kid. It didn't have beans in it. It was just meat. That meat sauce for chili dogs. I wish I had a chili dog. I said, what are you thinking about? You know, it's like, all right, sorry, I don't have a chili dog. And then a day later, I was getting ads for canned chili for chili dogs with no beans. Have you guys ever done this? I mean, it's ridiculous. All right. You know how Muslims believe that if they kill themselves in a suicide bombing, they'll go and have 70 virgins, or sometimes 72. I'm not sure what the difference is between 70 and 72. But you know how they believe that? I believe that if those guys genuinely believed that killing yourself for your religion would lead to eternal paradise, that suicide bombings would be reserved for the highest ranking officials. And it wouldn't be the peons doing it. I mean, if they really believe that, like, no, let me do it. I also believe Green Acres was ahead of its time. You remember the show? Green Acres is the place to be. That show was ahead of its time. If you watch that show, I mean, you think of it as this kind of silly, goofy thing. You watch that show now. It's on MeTV. And there is a method behind that madness. That is, if you look at how that is done, Oliver Douglas is the only sane one in town. He's the only, I mean, his wife's crazy, Ebb's crazy, Mr. Kimball's crazy, Mr. Drucker's crazy, Mr. Ziffel's crazy, Mr. Haney's crazy. The whole town is crazy. Oliver Douglas is the only sane one in town. And yet, if you watch these shows, they gang up on him in a way that they're right and he's wrong. Like there was one that I saw recently, and Oliver and Lisa were going to Washington, D.C. And Lisa said, oh, yes, I've always wanted to go to Washington, D.C. to see the Eiffel Tower. And Oliver says, Lisa, the Eiffel Tower is not in Washington, D.C. It's in Paris. She says, well, I don't, you know. And so then they run into Ebb, and Ebb goes, you know, where are you going? We're going to Washington, D.C. I've always wanted to go to Washington, D.C. I'd love to go up in the Eiffel Tower. And Oliver goes, Ebb, you know. And then everybody they run into in town, you know, Mr. Kimball, is like, you're going to Washington, D.C. I love Washington, D.C. I went there one time and, you know, just missed seeing the Eiffel Tower. And, you know, Mr. Haney, Mr. Douglas, I can't believe you're going to Washington, D.C. and see the Eiffel Tower. And, of course, it's driving him crazy because he's telling everybody, it's not in Washington. And so at the end of the show, they're checking into their hotel room. Oliver opens the window. There's the Eiffel Tower outside Washington, D.C. But there's so many things on that show that are, it's comedy that was ahead of its time. Okay, here's something else I believe. I believe we should have term limits for every single branch of the federal government. In fact, I think that's the only thing that's going to save us. But we're not going to get them, because the only people who can create term limits are the people who don't want term limits. I mean, if you... How much does a congressman make? Can you Google that for me, Matt? How much does a congressman make? Now, it just blows my mind that these people go up there and don't have any money, and then they spend years in public service and get out with millions. Okay, so a congressman makes $174,000 a year. That's a congressman, not a senator.
Let me look further into these details. This is what Google came up with first.
Okay. Well, less than $200,000 a year. But get this. There is something about the power grab about this that is beyond belief. Because do you know, go back to my numbers of the Georgia congressional campaign. The last Georgia congressional campaign, a Democrat, Raphael Warnock, won there in one of these campaigns, and spent on the campaign $180 million, $666,083. $180,666,083. $180 million to run for a congressional seat. The loser spent $68 million. That's just insane. So I believe that's insane. That's my belief. Okay, here's something else I believe. Whoever started the flat earth conspiracy theory, there's a flat earth society, and whoever started that doesn't actually believe it. I don't think they believe it. I think that whoever started it did it as a massive prank for their own amusement of watching dumb people dedicate themselves to something so stupid. I think that's why they did it. I don't think they believe it. I also believe the Andy Griffith Show is the best television show in the history of television. And if you ever visit us here in the studios, we have items from the show, props from the show. We have what's left of Aunt Bee's china. We have Aunt Bee's pearls. We have some telephones from the show. So come and bow to the Andy Griffith things. I believe that Gatorade switched to curvy bottles specifically so that consumers would not notice that they are 4 ounces smaller than they used to be. Same price, but they're 4 ounces smaller. Have you noticed what's happening to cereal? I mean, if you remember what cereal used to be, a box of cereal, and you get a box of cereal now, if you look at it from the front, it's the same. But you pick it up, that thing is that thin. That's the same price. Toilet paper rolls are smaller, so they can keep the price kind of the same, but so, Gatorade shaved 4 ounces off and changed the shape of the bottle so it wasn't as noticeable. I believe that if you separated the population of any country or city, you separated them, you could do it based on religion, you could do it based on skin color, you could do it based on gender, age group, economic class, political affiliation. You could do it based on eye color. But I think that if you separate the population, you'd find the same percentage of jerks in each of those groups. Same percentage. Just as many jerks in every group. I believe that people who get extremely disappointed when they discover the gender of their, these gender reveals, where it reveals pink or blue. And I think that the people who are extremely disappointed when they discover the gender of their unborn child are not emotionally mature enough to raise a child. It's like, really? You're upset? And I think that anybody who is stupid enough to be disappointed and still post that on social media for everybody to look at them being disappointed is too stupid to raise a child. Okay. Whew, I'm getting worked up here. Getting worked up. Okay. Need to get a pink Ernie and blue Fred. Calm down. Just calm down. I believe that disagreement is not a personal attack. I think that's two different things. Whew, okay. I truly believe that sandwiches actually taste 100 times better when they're cut diagonally. I think the taste is better. I believe that my generation needs to lose the idea that a college degree is necessary for everyone. Now, some people would say, well, we've lost that idea. Yeah, but it's like a college degree is not necessary for everyone but my child. No, that includes your child. College degree is not necessary for everybody. Not anymore. I believe, you remember piano stores in malls? Do you remember malls? I mean, there used to be malls. But you remember piano stores in malls? I believe that piano stores in malls were money laundering operations for the mob. I mean, have you ever seen anybody buying a piano in a mall? And there were piano stores in all these malls. And I was like, is somebody walking through a mall going, while we're here, let's pick up a piano. I just think that's crazy. So I just think, something's going on. I believe with everything in me that evil spirits lurk in English pea casseroles. I hate English pea casserole. I hate it. That is the nastiest thing anybody could ever eat, and I believe evil spirits lurk in them. I believe that children's beauty pageants are creepy. Maybe just me, but I think they're creepy. I believe that the kind of people who want power are the worst kind of people to have power. That kind of goes along with that. Whoever wants to be president bad enough to go through that should. I believe, this is for Matt, I believe that pineapple should not go on pizza, but I respect somebody's right to be wrong.
The office is full of pineapple pizza lovers.
I know it. When we have pizza here, it's like almost everybody wants pizza with pineapple on it. That just doesn't make sense. It's like, when you put marshmallows on it, it's like sweet stuff doesn't go on pizza. I mean, you put Hershey's Kisses on pizza. It just doesn't make sense. I respect somebody's right to be wrong. I believe that Superman is more powerful than Batman. And I believe that the old Batman show is better than any of the Batman movies. That old campy one? That old crazy one? It's great. And That's what I believe. I believe that Batman is more power. I believe that Superman is more powerful than Mighty Mouse, and that is because Mighty Mouse is a cartoon, but Superman is real. I also believe, this is my last belief, I believe one of the greatest things you can say for your own amusement at the doctor's office is when they ask you, are you allergic to anything? Say, yes, kryptonite. I think that's one of the greatest things you can say for your own personal amusement. You know, when I was getting my neck operated on, I said that. I was so sick of people asking me, are you allergic to anything? You allergic? And so finally, one day I was in something, and this young girl says, allergic to anything? I said, yes, kryptonite. And it's just, kryptonite, kryptonite, kryptonite. She says, would you spell that, please? I said, yes, it's Kryptonite. She said, I'm not seeing that. So I spell it again. I'll just write it in here. So she wrote it in. And to this day, when I go to the doctor, it's on my permanent record. I am allergic to kryptonite. All right, you guys. Thank y'all for being with us today. And I'm excited about Pink Ernie and Blue Fred. I hope you are too. This is going to be a cool thing for your kids, cool thing for your grandkids, and we'll talk more about it, but make sure you get one for yourself or 5 for your kids. You can have as many as you want, and as many of these little jokers as you want to. We got 1 million of them. Bye-bye.